Hi, this is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. I'm coming to you today to make a commentary on what happened with Will Smith last night at the Oscars and my thoughts on it, and why in the world do I care, and why am I even putting it on this channel today. And for any of my family or friends that might be embarrassed that I'm even commentating on this, putting this out there, my thoughts out there, I'm sorry. I have to do what I want to do on my own channel. I respect other preppers, homesteaders, gardeners that never want to get into politics, that don't want to talk about anything controversial, that just want to stay on gardening and stay on milking cows or homesteading. I applaud that. I just don't agree with that sometimes. We live in a real world where real things happen, and sometimes people want to know what we think. Maybe nobody wants to know what I think today, but I think I need to just speak to get this out of my system, because I was very, very disturbed last night. My husband was staying up watching TV, and I had stayed up later than I intended to, just doing things around the house. So I was just trying to kind of watch a few videos on YouTube and look at some gardening videos and do things like that until it was time for him to get ready for bed. And all of a sudden in my feed late last night, it comes through that Will Smith attacks Chris Rock at the Oscars. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I thought to myself, for Will Smith's sake, I'm going to click on this and look at it. I don't normally click on Hollywood type things. I don't want all of that stuff just continually showing up in my feed. And if you do click and watch things like that, YouTube thinks you like things like that, so they just bombard you with things like that. So I don't like to click on them. But last night I thought to myself, I don't want to see a headline like that that's kind of disturbing and not understand what's going on. I didn't want to hear what happened tomorrow when I woke up, because I don't trust anything that's on the news anymore. I don't trust the views other people have on things. I just want to see it with my own eyes, do my own research, and then I will make a decision about what I think. So I clicked on the little video. I think it was only about a minute and a half. And I was floored. I don't want to say traumatized, because that's a word you really should use if something really bad happens in front of your face. But I was full of anxiety, and it was time to go to bed. I helped my husband go to bed, and then as I was laying there, I could not go to sleep. I was all of a sudden wide awake. I was just full of anxiety. I felt like I had just witnessed a fight at school. It reminded me back of my junior high and high school days, where there were so many fights at school, and I used to just come to school happy, and then you could just be set into this gut-wrenching anxiety if you walked up on a fight or something. It was just a bad feeling, and I felt that way at my age, right before I went to bed, from watching something that happened in Los Angeles, California, between two highly paid people. And it bothered me. And another sinking feeling I had, and the reason I think I had anxiety when I went to sleep, was because I knew nothing was going to happen to Will Smith. Nothing. And as I wake up this morning and I'm seeing a little more commentation on it, and I saw where when he went up to accept his award an hour later, which I don't know when all that happened time-wise. I don't know exactly what point I caught this video, whether it was all over by the time it showed up on YouTube or what. But I know that an hour after that occurrence happened, he accepted an award for Best Actor or something on King Richard, the movie he was in. And I know that during that, he was tearful at first. He apologized to the Academy. And then he got pretty smirky and pretty self-confident. And then he did something that I completely just abhor him for. He excused his behavior in the name of love. Love makes people do things like that. Love makes people defend their family. Love makes people get up in front of a live audience and 20 or 30 people that were watching it live on television. I don't know how many, but not many, I'm sure. And go over there and physically assault a fellow performer. Love made him do that. So it's all good. It's all good. And I knew when I went to bed last night that Will Smith would not be punished for this. I knew he would not be arrested. I knew he wouldn't have to go to the police department in Los Angeles. I knew he wouldn't have a mugshot. I knew, because there's a pecking order in this world. Everybody has heard by now the quote from George Carlin, "It's a big old club and you ain't in it." Well, we all know, none of us that I know of are in the elite Hollywood club. None of us are. But unfortunately for the people that are in the club, there's a pecking order in that club too. Just because you're an actor, just because you're a comedian in Hollywood, does not mean you rank above anybody else unless they let you rank above them. And I knew when I went to sleep last night, I'm like, Chris Rock has been around a while. Chris Rock is funny. I just can't help but like him. I'm sorry. I don't always approve of comedians' words and their humor. Sometimes I never really cared for Richard Pryor because he was so foul-mouthed, and I just don't like that. I don't really always love it, but I do recognize the qualities in comedians that can make them very, very popular. And Chris Rock's quality is his likability. He just has that face. He just has that demeanor that comes off as just somebody you'd want to hang out with and be around. So I know he's been around a while. I know he's very likable. But in the pecking order of Hollywood, he ranks under Will Smith. That is a given. Will Smith came from complete obscurity to star on a show that is still in syndication to this day. Will Smith paid his dues to get there. His wife, which is his second wife, I believe, but she's in it. She's in the business up to it. All of her friends, all of her contacts are in the business. Both their kids are in the business. They're a little fiefdom in the business. They're a powerhouse. They want to be a powerhouse in the business, and they are a powerhouse in the business. And I don't really care. It's no skin off my back what they do. I don't really care. But as rankings go, their powerhouse ranks a lot higher than Chris Rock's comedian act. And I knew that nothing was going to happen to Will Smith. Now, why do I care? Why did I worry about this and not be able to sleep last night for a while? Why did I wake up this morning with that same feeling in my gut of things just aren't right? Why did I get angry when I saw his quasi-tearful apology to the Academy, not to Chris Rock, but to the Academy? Why did I get angry when I saw that he was using his role as King Richard, who was the domineering father of Venus and Serena Williams, who got them into tennis? I didn't watch the movie, but I know the story. He got them into tennis. He pushed them, their lives 24/7 were tennis, 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 to make them stars. And it worked, and he did, and now they're making a movie about him that Will Smith just won an award for. So Will Smith uses that man's fierce determination and protection of his family. Will Smith said King Richard protects his family. He uses that as his excuse for his behavior last night. Makes me sick. And what made me even sicker was him attributing it all to love, because he loved so much that he had to do that. And as he's saying that, everybody watching him that is getting his award in the audience is just, and they're just, and they're crying, and it's okay. They're all okay with it. I saw a little clip of about a 2 or 3 minute clip. It was kind of long, of the intermission time that they give them during the awards show. And during the intermission, I guess he had went up to go to the bathroom or something and was on his way back. And the amount of love and hugs that he was given from big time actors, and the support that he was shown as he was coming back to his individual armchair that they all get to sit in at the Academy Awards, with their individual coffee tables and their individual drinks and everything that are served to them. As he was coming back to his individual little compound for his family, I thought to myself, no one is going to go up against him, because he is a Hollywood powerhouse. And they're not going to... Chris Rock is just going to be thrown under the bus. I think Chris Rock needs to really watch a lot of the footage from that Academy Awards, that Oscars, whatever it's called, and see who his friends are and who they're not. And I think Will Smith needs to watch some of the footage from that award show last night. And really, he could doesn't even have to watch it. He could just listen to it. Because when Chris Rock made his joke about G.I. Jane, the place erupted in laughter. And guess what? Will Smith was laughing. I think he looked at his wife, saw that it hurt her, then he got mad, but he laughed. And you can't go back and undo that. I think he tried to in his apology by saying, sometimes we have to sit there and laugh and smile when we don't really, want to, but no, he had a big grin on his face last night, and his eyes were wide and lit up and giggling. And then a second or two later, I believe he made eye contact with his wife, realized she was not happy, and went up on that stage and did what he did. And shame on him. I go back to, I don't know if I ever answered, why does this bother me so much? It bothers me because I'm a normal person. And in this country right now, people like me, people like you, are being vilified every day for loving our children, for loving our country, for loving freedom, for loving red, white, and blue, for loving our flag, for not wanting people to separate us by race and get us all mad at each other. We're vilified. We're called names. We're designated as domestic terrorists. Why does that have anything to do with this? I was just thinking about all of those people who, for the love of their children, the absolute love and worry for their children, have went to school board meetings all across our country this past year or two since COVID. And they have spoken out to get people to let our children breathe. Breathe. We just want them to be able to breathe. Don't mandate vaccines on them. Don't do anything like that with experimental drugs. They have went to school boards and demanded to be heard, but they did it in the right way. They went on the designated times of the meetings. They stood in line against the wall. They signed up sheets to be able to get up and speak, sometimes only allotted 30 seconds or 2 minutes by the all-empowering school boards, who only gave so many people so much time to speak. But they used that minute or 2 minutes very well in many situations, and they fought for our kids. And do you know what happened? Staffers at the White House and the Justice Department, working together, sent an email to the National School Board Association and said, hey, why don't y'all send a letter complaining about these parents? We'll see what we can do to stop all this. So they do. Our Department of Justice opens investigations on these parents, starts delving into their lives, starts determining whether they're going to designate them as domestic terrorists. They start forbidding them to speak at school boards. They threaten to lock them up. And these are just normal people using their First Amendment and doing it by the books in meetings and without ever laying a hand on any school board member, either in the meeting or in the parking lot or at a cafe if they run into them or anything. They just use their legal means, and our government goes after them. Will Smith got up in front of a live audience last night, walked across the stage, and committed physical assault against a fellow human being, and he doesn't have anything happen to him. What would happen if I did something like that? I have a little placard, you get these little legal things political things in the mail. Well, I got mine yesterday. I get them every now and then from our state representative. I'm not even going to say his name. Who cares? But I voted for him because I didn't know a whole lot about him. And there didn't seem to be anybody else on the ballot that was any better. So I voted for him. Well, and we live in a rural district. Our governor of Louisiana is from this district, but it's still considered rural district. Well, our little state representative decided to be one of only two people. Both were Democrats. It just so happened to be that way. But only one of two people on a committee of 15, the health committee in the Louisiana legislature. He decided to be only one of two that voted to mandatorily vaccinate our children with COVID vaccine if they wanted to attend public schools in Louisiana. Now, that committee was split between Republicans and Democrats. All Democrats jumped over and voted with Republicans because they did not want to be on the side of mandatorily vaccinating these children and telling them if they didn't get it, they would have to drop out of school. They had sense. Not my little representative. No, he held the line. I guess, I don't know if he's friends with the governor or what, but he held the line. And he stayed in there and he voted to mandatorily vaccinate our school children in Louisiana. Now that aggravated me. I don't have kids in school anymore, but I do have grandkids. And it aggravated me very, very bad. Now, if I showed up at a town hall meeting where he was hosting a town hall meeting, and I said, "You have made me so mad, and I love my grandchildren so much that I'm going to come up there and pop you in the face." I'm doing it out of love for my grandkids now. What would have happened to me? What would have happened to me? If there was security in that meeting, I would have been tackled, arrested, drug out of the building, probably perp walked and with a picture taken and booked in the parish jail. That's what would have happened to me. What would have happened to any of these people across America that attended school board meetings and were so upset about critical race theory, about the pornography that's been present in some of our kids' school books? What if they had just said, "Forget all this mandatory standing here against a wall for 2 minutes until it's my turn to speak. I'm going to just go up there and pop the school board president right in the nose"? What would have happened to those people? What would have happened? They would have been on the cover of the local newspaper the next day as a crazy nut, never to be trusted again, never to be trusted with money, a job, position, or anything. They'd have probably been fired from their job. But an actor in Hollywood can just walk right up and physically assault someone, and it's all good. P. Diddy said it was going to be all good. P. Diddy said that they'll make up at the after party. Y'all just don't worry about it. Well, I am worried about it because it did traumatize me in some way last night. It upset me. And it did take me back to that time when I used to witness an innocent person at my school just get decked by someone who just thought they were better, that they were capable of doing it, and that they could because nothing was going to happen to them. And it was frightening. And I also thought to myself, okay, all of you people who sat in that audience and did absolutely nothing to defend Chris Rock, y'all said, "Ooh," but you didn't do anything. It got quiet, but nobody did anything. Now, there's security there. They don't want us to have guns in the United States of America, but I can tell you right now, at the Oscars, there's armed security all over the place. They did nothing. They did nothing. And I found out this morning that the Oscar committee, whoever that is, had a quick meeting. It was a divided meeting, they said, because some people wanted to have Will Smith escorted out and some didn't. Well, the ones that wanted him to not be escorted out won. Nothing happened. He did not get escorted out of the Oscars. He did not get denied his Oscar that he won an hour later. How many people in America, just curiously thinking about this right now, how many people have been fired from their jobs because they might have texted or tweeted something that didn't line up with a political agenda that maybe their corporation stood for? Let me see, a lot. How many people were fired over jobs like that? How many people were fired because they wouldn't get the vaccine? And I thought to myself, a few years ago, I remember watching, to me it was a horrid event, but apparently it's popular in Washington, D.C., but it's that White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I watched a woman named Michelle Wolf. She's supposed to be a comedian, but I didn't think she was funny at all. I watched her annihilate and roast and offend and personally attack every member of the Trump administration, culminating with a horrible, horrible personal attack against Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Personally, just basically calling her fat and ugly. Right in front of her husband at this dinner, which was televised. It broke my heart. I was a nervous wreck sitting there watching that night, and I thought, what a horrible, horrible woman. What she did to Sarah Huckabee Sanders was a gazillion times worse because it went on for 20 minutes. It was so much worse than what happened last night. Now, if her husband had stood up and went over there and decked Michelle Wolf, he would have been labeled a monster. He would have been arrested. The media would have been all over him. Sarah Huckabee Sanders would have been called upon to resign as her job as White House spokesman. It would have been a horrible, horrible, horrible mess. But it's not going to be. Nothing will happen to Will Smith. This is the pecking order of the elites in Hollywood. This is the pecking order of all the elites in government and all that know him personally. Nothing is going to happen to him. And I feel bad for Chris Rock. I'm not in favor of humor that hurts anybody's feelings. But comedians do that. That's kind of what they do. And sometimes a lot of these stars take it as a badge of honor that they were even put into the routine, because it means you're somebody if you're put into the routine. I'm not defending him, his little joke, but the man did not deserve to get physically assaulted in front of an audience and in front of the world, any more than a wife deserves to get punched in the mouth by a husband who's just doing it out of love because he wants to make her a better wife. It was abuse. This is just my opinions. I'm sure this video will get taken down too. I don't really care anymore. I just see a two-tiered justice system in this country that just got a spotlight shined on it last night. We all know it's like that. We've been living it. We've been living it for the last years now. How dare we vote the way we vote? How dare we think the way we think? How dare we prepare food ahead of time? You're hoarders, you're doomsdayers, you're taking food out of other people's mouth. There's just so many ways we are continually, good people are condemned. And then we're made to be horrible. And then people like that can get away with a crime and nothing happens. And maybe they need Chris Rock to press charges to do anything. I disagree with that. That's one thing I heard a while ago in one of the clips I watched is, well, he didn't press charges. Well, I believe the Oscar people could have pressed charges. He disrupted their show. He attacked one of their presenters. If someone came to my office and attacked me, I do believe my bosses could call the police and have charges pressed. I do believe that could happen. Why? In this case, it won't. It won't. This is just my thoughts. Watch this video, think what you want. I really don't care. This world is a funny place. We're finding our place in it, especially people that are wanting to be more self-sufficient. But there is a club and we're not in it. And it's frustrating. And my kudos to Chris Rock for handling it in a way that I don't think I could, because I'd probably cried just from embarrassment. I'm sure it hurt, but I would have probably just, as a woman, I would have probably cried just from embarrassment, because when you are in a situation like that where you are front and center talking and speaking, and then something happens to make everybody in the audience gawk and stare and freeze, it's not a good feeling. And he got through it pretty good. They never show anything that hardly happened afterwards, so I don't really know what all happened afterwards, whether he could really do his bits anymore or whether he just did what he had to do and got off stage. I don't really know what happened. But I feel bad for the man. I feel bad for the man that he's going to be kind of a sacrificial lamb because Hollywood is not going to stand up to Will Smith. Will Smith, you're a bully. Hollywood has preached to us for years about bullies, and some of the biggest bullies live right among you. And last night, one of them was front and center at the Oscars and showed everybody really what a bully can do. So congratulations, Will Smith, on your Oscar and on showing the world just what a bully can do and accomplish and get away with it. This is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.